Let's talk about another strategy for tournaments coming up here. Gambling on Chargers running backs. It's an interesting term you use. We're not really sure which mouth is going to be fed this week.
Yeah, it's definitely a gamble. And I think that that is a little bit scary here because we want that guaranteed workload. And there are, again, a lot of high priced backs who are really fun for this week. But the situation for the Chargers is unique because not only do they have an offensive line that is playing really well, they have a future Hall of Famer at quarterback, but they're also in a really good matchup as 14-point home favorites. So if you gave me Austin Eckler to get 10 carries and 5 targets at $6,700 on FanDuel, I would love him. If you gave me Justin Jackson at 10 carries and 5 targets on FanDuel at $4,500, I would love him as well. So I think what I want to do is use a little bit of both. I want to plug in some Austin Eckler and see what happens, plug in some Justin Jackson in tournaments specifically and see what happens. Because if they get volume in this environment with that plus matchup, with being heavy favorites and on this team, they could totally blow up. Now, looking at these two guys, I think I'm going to wind up favoring Justin Jackson because not only did he get more run in the fourth quarter last week, but also head coach Anthony Lynn said on Tuesday that Eckler's kind of worn down at this point in the year. He plays a lot of special teams. He's not a huge body by any means either. So it kind of makes sense that he would be a bit worn out at this time in the year. That bodes well for Jackson, who is actually on the practice squad for the first couple of weeks and hasn't had much run ever since he joined the Chargers. So Jackson has fresh legs. He showed off the value of that last week as well. So if I'm picking between these two guys, I'm probably going to have a little bit more Justin Jackson than I have Austin Eckler, and I may have more Jalen Samuels than both at $4,600 just because I think his role is a bit more steady. But I think given the environment the Chargers are playing as big home favorites and with a really good offense overall, it does make sense to use both guys and see what happens because every touch in this Chargers offense is hyper valuable. So I'll take stabs at both and see what happens. I can't tell you right now who will wind up being the better play, but I want to make sure I have exposure just in case they do decide to commit to one or the other.
But you're leaning Justin Jackson, and that makes sense based on what we saw last week. Either way, these Chargers running backs are in a great spot, and somebody's going to have to take advantage.